Rev up your engines! Okay, today we got a brand new 2021 Chevy Trailblazer. To begin with, it's kind of a strange vehicle because if you checked out the original Trailblazer, they're pretty big. They were like small Suburbans. If anything, these have actually shrunk over time. It's a crossover SUV and a compact crossover. Completely different, but a lot of people are looking for small crossovers. What do you get with this? Now, when this first came out, it was one of their fastest selling vehicles. They are nice looking, and believe it or not, being an SUV, this thing can get 36 miles a gallon on a highway if you're driving 55 miles an hour. It's got a little bitty turbo engine, and you can see it's got gasoline direct injection. And by little bitty, I mean little bitty. Check out the sign, 1.3 liters. And this is the big engine. This is the optional engine. This regular engine is 1.2 liters. But actually the 1.3 gets better gas mileage than 1.2. It's strained less, it's got the turbo to ram more air in, and unless you drive like a maniac and are always over revving it, you'll actually get better gas mileage with this 1.3 liter engine. But you're taking a bit of a gamble. Think about it. It was made in Mexico, the engine. No, it's a beautiful looking vehicle. You can see why people buy them, but understand it's a GM. It's made in Korea. Tires kind of give it away because it's got Hankook tires on it. Now, it's a brand new vehicle. He hasn't had any real problems yet, but, and this would kind of make me wonder, it's brand new, but there's already condensation going inside the light. Water's leaking in there. Who knows? Maybe GM sent some of their workers to Korea that don't do such a hot job, and now the Koreans are making cars that leak, like GM has for decades. Let's check out the inside before we take it for a ride. Brand new, so of course it's going to start. And you can see it's got everything you need. Tach. Hood's open because we had the hook open. It's got all the fancy little electronics on it. Now this is a more basic car, so it's got no sunroof. But even though it's a 3-cylinder engine, we'll put it into gear. And does it shake? No, it doesn't shake at all. Now, yeah, it's only got 9,400 miles on it. And it has all that crazy stuff like electronic parking brakes that I'm not a big fan of. But as we check the back seat, there's room in here. It's not humongous, but there's room for people back here. And we'll open the trunk. You can say seat snap down if you want to make the seat snap down, give you a lot more room for carrying stuff. And it may only be a 3-cylinder engine, but it's got dual exhaust on it. Very nice wheels with disc brakes. And this is a fancy version, so it's got all-wheel drive. Talk about the back. Look at the front seat. It actually moves the whole way down. You flip that down, you can put a bed in there and sleep there. You can really carry a lot of stuff. Put something on here, you could really get long things in here. Now, it's all-wheel drive. It is basically a 4-wheel drive all-wheel drive, because if you're just driving it normally, only the front wheels drive it. It is just front-wheel drive. It only turns into all-wheel drive when you push the all-wheel drive button. If you ask me, technically, it's 4-wheel drive, because it's 2-wheel drive unless you push the button. But when you push the button, then it's all-wheel drive. They're getting a lot of hybrid systems, and this is one of them. It's a smaller SUV, so it handles really well. It's up high enough. You can see here, we're high enough in here, not outrageously high. It really handles a lot better than a larger SUV will. There's no arguing that. It's relatively quiet for an all-wheel drive vehicle, although we only have it in front-wheel drive now. We'll put it in all-wheel drive, see what it sounds like now. Still sounds pretty much the same. This isn't like one of those groaning 4-wheel drive jobs where you hear the diffs humming and the transfer cases making lots of noise. It is made in Korea. It is an Asian design, and a lot of their designs are a lot quieter than the American designs. We'll come to a stop and see, what does this 1.3 liter turbo do? Here we go. Really, for a 1.3 liter engine, that's not bad in an SUV. We're going 64 now, and I gotta say, it handles like a dream. Doesn't make all that much noise for a tiny little engine. And speaking of transmissions, interestingly enough, this is the all-wheel drive version. So it does not have a CVT transmission. It's got a GM built transmission. It's not a Jetco. GM builds them, and I gotta say, as we take off here, it went down good, it went up good, you can hardly even feel it shift. And as I said, look at this. Did the tire squeal? No, a very smooth turn. You're gonna say, what's happened to Scotty? He actually liked a GM vehicle? Well, Guess what it said on a sticker when he bought it? Contains less than 3% parts made in USA and Canada. Now it may be little, but with that all-wheel drive, we had a bunch of snow here. He tried to get stuck and he couldn't get stuck. It's relatively lightweight, it's not heavy, but with all-wheel drive, you're not gonna get stuck in the snow with one of these. If you don't want all-wheel drive, you're gonna save yourself thousands of bucks. There's no arguing that. But I do have to say, it did not adversely make this thing handle. I've seen a lot of them in the all-wheel drive ones. They're squirrelier handling, they weigh more, they got a lot worse gas mileage. This all-wheel drive version actually gets better than the front-wheel drive because the front-wheel drive comes with the 1.2 non-turbo engine, and this engine works better. But as I said, the engine is made in Mexico. Only time will tell. But on the other hand, I got a customer with a Toyota Tacoma. He had 370,000 miles on it. It was 12 years old, was made in Mexico. It looked like a brand new truck. So only time's gonna tell on this, and he's gonna find out. Make sure you watch my videos for the next 10 years just to see what happens with this thing. Okay, I'm always giving you free car information, so I like doing it. I'm gonna give you a free scan tool too. So to have a chance to win the scan tool, just place a clean, non-offensive comment on the YouTube comments below, and a winner will be chosen randomly by computer to get a cool scan tool so you can work on your own car and bypass the mechanics who charge you $140 an hour. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Lethal car video. Scotty, my overdrive light is flashing my '02 Ford Ranger Edge 3.0 V6 automatic. I changed the fluid, the transmission, speed limit, output sensor, anything else I should check. The light is flashing for a reason. That means there is a transmission trouble code stored. So find a guy like me who's got a Ford scan tool. There will be a code, then he has to analyze what that code could mean. It could be various things from your transmission's going to need rebuilding to maybe it needs a shift solenoid. But you gotta get those codes. Get the codes if you want. Go to ScottyKilmer.com, post the codes. I can analyze it for you there, but I need the codes. The light's just generic. That means there's a problem with the transmission. Then it has to be read with a scan tool. Cartridge says, Scotty, got an '03 Toyota Tacoma, 2.7, 4-cylinder. Constantly shakes so it's idle. Really heavily when I'm at a car wash. I call my Toyota dealer and they say it's common. Boy, are they lazy. They don't shake that much. The problem is, as things age, they get worn. Check for vacuum leaks. I have a video. How to find vacuum leaks with a cigar. Watch that. Could be you got a worn motor mount or a transmission mount. I got a video on how to check your motor mount. Check that out. It could be your throttle's dirty. I got a video. Make your car run better with a little spray cleaner. Watch that. Odds are one of those will fix it. Man, I can't believe the dealers are getting so lazy. They don't even try to fix things anymore. The Lizard King says, what about a 2008 Toyota Solara SLE convertible? Is it a good car? Well, if it was taken care of, it would be. Basically, those are fancy Toyota Camrys. That's all they are, but they had a convertible top. Most of them have the V6 engine that the Camry has in it. They're very well made, well-designed cars. They just stopped making them because they're kind of a weird idea. You already had Camrys on the one hand and a little bit fancier Avalons at the other. Why would you put something in the middle? It just didn't make any sense from just selling cars, so they stopped making them. But there's nothing wrong with the cars themselves. Ian Thornton said, Scotty, I want to use my truck to power my inverter hooked to the battery. Do I need to put the truck on high idle or I can leave it as it is? Thanks. Well, normally you can just let it idle. Normally. If you got a real heavy load, like say you're running some gigantic thing like a refrigerator or something, you'll probably have to rev it up. But if you're just using some small appliance, odds are it'll work perfectly fine just sitting there running. If you're curious, all you got to do is put a meter on the battery, and then when you're running it, as long as it's putting out more than 13 volts, that's good enough to recharge it. You don't have to rev it up. Joseph Nari says, I got a 2011 Honda Element, 210,000 miles. It clunks from the rear. The shocks are not spilling fluid, looks solid. What could it be? On the back, sometimes the top mounts of the shocks break. You can't see them, they can break. The other thing is, this is very, very common, is the back arms for the suspension. The bushings on either side can easily wear out. If you look under and you see the arms and the rubber bushings, big rubber ones with the metal bolts in them, they're cracked and rotten, they'll clunk and then they need replacing. And that's a common thing too. I see that all the time as they age. Chicken Sink said, my '09 Yukon has a dimmed headlight. I went out twice in a month. I replaced the bulb. Now I see the showing light normally and not enough. What could cause this? Okay, you probably got a bad ground wire. To power anything electrical in a car, you need power, 12 volt positive, but you also need ground. Direct electric current needs a complete path. So if the ground's weak, it'll get dim and not work. Check the black ground wire, and if it's not working right, a lot of times you can just cut the wire, splice a new wire on, and then the other end of the new wire, bolt it on a nice bolt on the engine, take it off, clean it, and then bolt it on tight, and then it'll be ground. Grounds go bad all the time in GM products. That's pretty typical. Tron Freeland says, what do you think about an Opel Kadett 1100 1968 Type A? The first car I ever owned was a 67 Opel Kadett. I still have dreams about that stupid thing. It was a little red car. My wife says, you're still dreaming about that car? What are you, insane? But I only paid $550 for it, and I drove in 11th grade, 12th grade, 4 years of college, and 1.5 years of graduate school, and then I got a Ford Maverick after that. So I think I got my $550 left worth out of that thing. Nah, back in the day, it's hard to get parts for them because GM imported them from Germany, and getting parts was kind of hard, but I mean, I made a gasket for the carburetor of a Kellogg cereal box. I put it on, cut it out, drilled holes, and it worked perfectly fine. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.